Council of Canadians is proud to present a special award to Evan Vokes in recognition of your courage and integrity as a whistleblower in reporting substandard practices for pipeline safety at TransCanada Corporation. Presented this 4th day of October in the year 2014. Maud Barlow, National Chairperson, the Council of Canadians. I will say that Evan is from Ontario, born not too far from here, but presently lives in Calgary.
Well, I want to thank you guys, and I think it's important that you guys understand that there's a lot of coaching here today, and I can do a lot of things. Some people think of me as a bit of a Renaissance man, but public speaking is not one of the things I do. And Lorinda kind of like really pushed me into doing this today. She went and made the appropriate threats that a partner does to suitably motivate a person to do the right thing. So Lorinda in particular has had to put up with something that nobody in this country should ever have to put up. And there's a very good reason why nobody puts up with this, because this is very hard on a person. And probably one of the reasons why I ever did this in the first place is because I knew there were people who were with family that could never do what I went and did. I was in a unique position that nobody else could ever be in to do something about the situation, so I did. It's almost... At this time in 2010, the International Pipeline Conference was going on in Calgary. I was sent to a pipeline called Bison. We're going to see this Bison pipeline in a few minutes here. And during that visit to the Bison pipeline in Wyoming, I saw things you should never see on construction projects. And they went as far as to fire the quality people. It was just unbelievable. I've never seen anything like that before. And a year later, in October 2011, there I was fighting the corporation, and the last official day I had at TransCanada was October 25th, 2011, where I went and told a bunch of the senior engineers and project managers, I told them in no uncertain terms to go themselves, because what they were doing was blatantly unsafe and illegal. Management knew already. I wrote the letter to the CEO on October 6th of 2011. So it's not like nobody didn't know. In the middle of all of this, I told them exactly what my game plan was going to be, but being as they're a large corporation, they assumed that people would never do these things. So I will show you what we've done and what they've done and how it got there. Okay? So as I said, I'm Evan Vokes. I'm a former materials engineer at TransCanada Pipeline. Currently, I'd probably describe myself as a safety advocate. And I'd like to thank the Council of Canadians for having me here. And in particular, I'd like to thank them for trying to deal with such a complex engineering subject as Energy East, because Energy East is a pipeline of global implications. It's not local Canadian like we think it is. It's actually global. This affects Europe. This affects the Middle East. This is something to be reckoned with. I would like to talk to you about why I became a pipeline safety and skilled engineering advocate, and you will see why I have no reason to quit fighting. My position at TransCanada carried a lot of professional engineering weight. It wasn't casual. What we went and did was we made decisions on public safety. I cannot detail it all in here, but in a nutshell, the technical group I belonged to took care of bad things on projects. I want to show you how the longer I worked at TransCanada, the more I realized how unskilled our practices were, till I finally started cooperating with some managers and took my concerns higher. I will show you how the regulators ignored the proverbial elephant in the room, accumulating in disaster. I will show you how this is a systemic problem when professional and trades do not stand together on a serious issue. I want to talk about the duty of care. A true profession owes duty of care to the public, as the average member of the public cannot defend themselves against decisions. Doctors, lawyers, and engineers are professions. We're all covered under Acts of Parliament. Society does not realize that engineers are legally required to work within the confines of the regulations of the code as part of their duty of care. In short, if an engineer needs to design it, it is reasonable that a competent engineer will construct and inspect the design to ensure that it was complied with. The big issue here is you can choose your doctor, you can choose your lawyer, you never choose your engineer when you drive across the bridge. Unfortunately, due to lack of enforcement, the duty of care has been supplanted by corporate self-interest. I love my job. It took me all over the place, all over North America. Pipeline is an expensive sport, okay? And as I said, my primary job was making sure field girth welds were suitable for service. That pickup truck you see there, that's inspecting a pipeline with some high-tech equipment. Arguably, the automated ultrasonics is the most sophisticated technology that we use during pipeline construction. We use some pretty good technology, but that's very advanced. Things were tough sometimes. You learn the corporate culture, you try to fit into your job requirements into it, you got to do the job, right? Managers and projects always try to push the limits to improve project cost and schedule performance. My career was always in the ditch. I was caught between quality and the project desires for cost and schedule. Regardless of management opinions, sometimes there's a wake-up call, and this is what I want to show you guys. I lost an argument of the suitability of the Bison pipeline for service in 2010. My argument was we were supposed to tell the regulator that the wells weren't inspected correctly. Bison blew up 6 months into introduction of service. For a pipeline that was touted and promised to be an outstanding example of quality, there is a very strong criticism of the project management, both from within the quality management framework and from the regulator. We always wonder why somebody didn't do something. It was clear that I was in a position to do something, but I was heavily influenced not to. I was told we'd be taking care of it later. But what about the regulator? What we have here is we have an extract of a letter from the U.S. regulator, PHMSA, telling TransCanada that they recognize that they did a shit job of building Bison. There's no other description for it. This pipeline here was built on technology that was won at the International Pipeline Conference in 2008. This is the technology winner that year. In 2009, we constructed this pipeline. It's called North Central Corridor, Buffalo West. This is a gas pipeline that feeds the oil sands extraction process in Fort McMurray. And what you're seeing here in this picture is you're seeing a pipeline in distress. This is a brand new pipeline. We're doing integrity work on a brand new pipeline. What we're actually doing is we're justifying our poor engineering. What happened to this pipeline? Some rules in engineering design were not followed during construction. External audit caught nothing for compliance, but internally the struggles were present. Post-constructions, sections of the pipeline floated up in a series of bends looking like the mythical Ogopogo had appeared in the boreal forest. Subsequently, I was overruled on rejection of the welds, 8 welds, after my teammates changed the stress analysis to accommodate management wishes. The ever-dutiful regulator, National Energy Board, and the Transportation Safety Board of Canada maintained silence, even though the information was presented in the report that the gas pressure was applying excessive stress to the pipe. This problem was never addressed by the regulator. Science prevailed over the economic and project decisions. The pipeline ruptured October 17, 2013. There is still no failure investigation posted, but Alberta Energy Regulator and National Energy Board have approved other pipeline projects for TransCanada. You don't need a degree to know what's wrong here. That would be a 30-inch pipe in the creek. The unfortunate thing is when that pipeline was built, the creek was not there. This pipeline is in a floodplain. There's very specific rules on floodplains about how you will construct a pipe. Okay? There are 4 pipelines correctly installed in this floodplain. This is the 5th and newest pipeline. Oh, by the way, that's actually a guy fishing in the background. Yeah. So when this pipeline was built, the regulators, engineers, inspectors, project managers, trades, they were all there. Who said anything? Once again, this is a new pipeline. Time has not improved construction practices. Was my situation in engineering unique? Some of you may know this picture. It's been in the news recently. So why this would be acceptable is a bit fuzzy to people, because we always see the big apologies show up, like, oh, we didn't know it was going to happen. So, since it's a bit fuzzy, we're going to do a probable Mount Poly cost-benefit analysis. This is probably the conversation that's going to occur. A long-term liability of a tailings pond that has to be maintained for many, many years was now removed for a few $1,000,000. There is likely to be no regulatory repercussions regardless of enforceable laws. This is a good time for it to be worthy of bonuses. Commonality of these failures. Multiple people and multiple skill levels are involved. Everybody objects, but no group spoke out. We have individuals that'll speak out. Everybody wants something done. Many of the things that I went and brought up from TransCanada were a result of what inspectors and trades wanted, because they wanted to do a good job. Professional practices associated with the duty of care is a myth, especially with your regulators. This is the National Energy Board. There is no accountability for the low probability, high risk engineering. So, what I've shown you here, I've shown you the path to engineering failure is well known with science-based technology. Political interference from projects and managers has led to bad engineering decisions. And regardless how many people are upset, whomever dares to stop the cost and schedule process is going to take the brunt of the consequence. As an outfall of this, the problems are never dealt with and the lessons are never learned. So what's happened there is the same people that were involved with what I just showed you at TransCanada and National Energy Board are making the decisions on Energy East today. It should make you feel very comfortable. In conclusion, steel pipelines are no more likely to leak than a pencil is to make spelling mistakes. It's the people and their lack of accountability for understanding engineering assets that leads to failures and leaks. I want to show you guys something very special. This is a TransCanada document on how you will be paid your incentives and awards, okay? And you'll see that the incentive pay is linked to corporate results. Now this came after my complaint to the CEO of the corporation, and as a response to the internal audit and my complaints to the CEO, this is what he sends out to the employees. Incentive pay will be linked to corporate results. I'd like to leave you with that, and I'm sure that you should be able to make up your decision, your minds on whether or not these people have put safety first by yourselves. Since you guys are all activists, if you know what needs to be done, is technically I was protected by the Criminal Code of Canada, section 425.1, which dealt with whistleblowing. What happened at TransCanada was illegal. It was immoral. It was certainly not in the interest of the public safety. Yet, when I approached the RCMP and the Department of Justice, all these people who bring criminal charges against TransCanada, it has not been done. TransCanada has fought me to the end of the earth to avoid releasing information related to the public safety. And if you want to do something in your activism, stick to the engineering. They have no defense against it. Thank you.